Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 28th of March. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, I send you to where you're going to get compensated. Let them put their skills to work for you. Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, it is a Thursday. It is the second week of the NCAA tournament. The Sweet 16 is here, and Bet Online is your bracket headquarters. The best bracket contest out there. Odds, lines, info on every game and every round right up until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering info anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. You can even track your bracket real time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on all the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, I'm back from Orlando. I was in Disney the last couple days, took my son spring break. So I appreciate you guys who listened yesterday. Yesterday was a little bit of a different show. We had our pal Chris Van Vliet on with us. So we sat down, we talked wrestling with him. We talked movies with him. I mean, he's a great dude, but also he's like the premier wrestling podcast these days. Gets all the big guests, and he also gets all the A-list movie stars doing all kinds of stuff out there in Hollywood on the West Coast. So we appreciate Chris helping us out yesterday, and appreciate you guys listening to the show yesterday. So we left for Orlando on Tuesday afternoon, back today, Thursday afternoon. So that's why today's show is coming at you a little bit later than normal, but that's okay. We got Sweet 16 tonight. We got Marlins opening day. That snuck up on your ass, right? In Orlando, I told my son yesterday, I go, hey, you know the Marlins opening day is tomorrow? I was like, what? That's right, snuck up on your ass. So we got the Marlins today, and of course, we got the Panthers back in action tonight. Panthers and Islanders. So there's a lot happening here, all right? So a lot to get to. First, though, I want to tell you guys, went to Disney. Because see, I'm like a Disney employee. Well, not like I am. I'm a Disney employee now. So I get the discount, and I get the passes for free. So all right, we'll take my son. Took my son and his friend, and we'll go to Orlando. We went park hopping yesterday. We went to Animal Kingdom, and we went to Hollywood Studios. Had a good time. I am exhausted. There's no other way to put it. Exhausted. I don't think, I have bad ankles anyway. I don't think my ankle is going to recover for another few days. Like, when we got back to the hotel last night, my feet were on fire. My dogs were barking last night when I got back to the hotel. So much walking, so much standing in line. And, we did all the stuff that where you got to wait online like a long time. Like right when we got to the park, we got there first thing in the morning. So we went to Animal Kingdom first. So we went straight to Avatar. And by the way, I can't go on any of the rides. So I'm waiting in all these lines. And then when we get to the front, I skip it. I go on the other side and I wait for my son and his friend. I can't go on any of these rides. I love rides. I love the 3D stuff, the simulators, roller coasters. I love all that stuff. I can't do it anymore. I guess because of my age, the motion sickness, and also because I suffer from vertigo. I can't go on any of these rides. I immediately get sick. Like within seconds of the roller coaster or the 3D. So I'm worthless at these places. But look, we go for my son, whatever. And it was crowded. It was packed. It's spring break. I mean, obviously. But yeah, it's spring break. My buddy said, I can't believe you went on spring break. You know why I went on spring break? Because my son's on spring break. Like, that's when we can go. So anyway, we got to the park first thing in the morning yesterday. We go right to the back. We go to the Avatar because that's like the longest line. And we waited for little more than an hour, which is really my max, what I'm willing to wait in line for. So we waited a little more than an hour. So we went first thing in the morning. And that was fine. So we got to do everything at Animal Kingdom because we went on the longest line right at the start and didn't have to wait as long as others. The point that I'm trying to make is, like in the middle of the day, you'll go to that Avatar ride or one of the other big rides, and it tells you, how long you got to wait. And it'll say 180 minutes. Now, for those of you who aren't good at math, 180 minutes is 3 hours. You see that sign for the Avatar ride, I don't care what kind of ride it is, 180 minutes. That's 3 hours. You're there with your family of 4. You see that sign, and people just are like, all right, let's get in line. Who are these people? And obviously, they're getting in that line. You're seeing a line that says 180 minutes, and you're just, all right, this is what we're doing for the next 3 hours. Standing and waiting. For the life of me, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Who are these people who wait in the line for that long? So I didn't do any of that. Like I said, longest we were willing to wait was an hour. Had the, like the lightning lane where you get to skip the line, you go into the second line, and that gets you in really quick. We were able to do that for like 3 rides yesterday. Then we went to Hollywood Studios. I don't get the people who wait in these lines. And, it wasn't even that hot. The weather was fine, but holy shit was it crowded. It's so crowded. The lines at Disney, it's like you're hurrying up to wait. That's what you're doing. It's so much waiting. It's so much lines. And maybe I sound like a spoiled brat here because I've been to Disney 1,000 times. I grew up here in Florida, but man, I think it's so overrated. Disney World, I think it's so overrated. You're waiting in line forever. The ride or the show lasts for 4 minutes, and you're done. Not to mention everything costs $1 billion. I mean, I don't think I have any money left. I think my checking account is drained. I have no money left. All right, so that's what we did yesterday. We came back today. Overall, had a nice time. We did. We had a good time. All right, so there's a lot happening. Let's get to what happened last night. Now, I was able to keep track of everything, and last night, so it's the Western Conference. Let's start there, because now we're 9-10 games remaining for every team. Playoff race is tight. Every night, we got stuff we got to keep an eye on. Rockets win, Suns win, Lakers win. All right, so when we look at the Western Conference standings here, that's important because the play-in is the most intriguing part. For anyone who doesn't like the play-in, I'm keeping track of those teams in the play-in every night. I love the race in the play-in, and I'm really going to enjoy the play-in games. So, like I told you, those teams that won there last night, Rockets, Suns, Lakers. The Rockets have now won 10 in a row, but they are still a game back of number 10 Golden State. They're the only team still alive for the playoffs in the West that's on the outside looking in. Warriors won, Lakers won, Suns won. The Suns right now are still number 7. They're a game back in the loss column of number 6 Dallas. They're actually even in the loss column with number 8 Sacramento. So Phoenix, all the hullabaloo, all the hubbub about acquiring Durant, about acquiring Bradley Beal, and they are fighting to not be on the road in the play-in game. Suns are a major disappointment. I don't care that the Suns, they're 43-30. It's not like, if they played in the Eastern Conference. If they played in the Eastern Conference, so they'd be 5th instead of 7th. It's not like they'd be running away with anything in the Eastern Conference. The Suns are 43-30, which is a good record, but they're 7th in the West. They're a major disappointment. And then you look at the Lakers, who have been sitting in the 9th spot for 5 months at this point. They win. They're 2 back of number 8 Sacramento. They're 2 up on number 10 Golden State. And they have 9 games to play. So they're looking pretty good to host the first play-in and then go on the road for the second one to even clinch a playoff spot. And the Warriors, they're not in the clear here by any stretch. The Warriors are a game up on Houston, who has won 10 in a row, and they're probably not going to catch the Lakers, who are 2 up on them. So that's what the Western Conference looks like. The Eastern Conference, the Heat, and we'll get to them in a second, the Heat got a lot of luck last night. The Cavaliers, the Hornets beat the Cavs last night. The Warriors beat the Magic. The Clippers beat the 76ers. So why does that matter? Why do we care about those teams? Well, here's why. The Cavaliers are number 4 now. The Knicks have jumped them to number 3. So the Heat would have to get to number 5 to play the Cavs. I don't think you want that because, like I said, not that anyone's afraid of the Celtics, which, by the way, for a number 1 seed and for a team that's been the number 1 seed all year long, has there been a team that everyone is less afraid of as a number 1 seed than these Boston Celtics? Nobody's afraid of them. So if I'm the Heat, though, I don't want that number 5 seed, even if it means playing the Celtics, because I don't want to face the Celtics in the second round. I want to face them in the East Finals. So like I said, if you're the Heat, you want to be 6 or 7. Those are the money spots. But of course, if you're 7, you got to get through the play-in, which is exactly where the Heat are right now. So Cleveland, they dropped to number 4. Orlando, since they lost, the Heat, they're still only 3 back. Indiana, they lost, they're still only 3 back. The Heat have 9 games left to play. Making up 3 games in 9 games, very difficult. So the Heat find themselves, they're even in the loss column with Indiana. And like I said, that 6th spot, that's where you want to be if you're Miami. You want to be either 6 or 7, but preferably 6. So you're even in the loss column there with Indiana. So Indiana losing last night, that was big. And you still find yourself 3 back of Orlando, who's number 5. But like I said, I don't want to be number 5. So that's where you sit right now if you're the Heat. And as far as tonight goes, you do not have Indiana in action, but Indiana's the team that we want to keep an eye on. So that's where we currently sit as far as the play-in goes. All right. That's a little bit of what happened last night. So let's do a little bit of Heat here first. And then I want to get back to some NBA because there was NBA stuff. Like, not a good night for the NBA last night. We'll get to that coming up. The Heat next play Portland. They're playing Portland tomorrow. And then I think they play Washington after. So this is actually a really important stretch for the Heat to get some wins against bottom feeders. But again, they lost to Washington last time they played them. And the Heat, we're in like a really annoying place with the Heat right now. And what I mean by that is they should be rolling. Like, we got to a place where the Heat had won all of those games in a row, and Jimmy's yelling at the crowd as he got ejected in New Orleans. It's that time, except the Heat are not playing good basketball right now. They're struggling to score. They just got their shit kicked in at home by Golden State. You never know if Jimmy's going to play or not. No Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson is still hurt. So Jimmy could scream, it's that time, it's that time. It doesn't feel like that time. It feels like it's the time to be annoyed if you're a Heat fan, because I'm annoyed. So that's where we are right now if you're the Heat. If you're the Heat fan, we're in like a place that's really annoying right now. And then also, remember the Heat were like 2 games back of New York when Anunoby and Randall were both out. That was the opportune time to make up that ground. The Heat are now 5 back of New York. They were like 2 back. They're now 5 back. They're never going to catch them. And can we be honest here? Finishing 3 back, which they're 3 back right now, finishing 3 back of the Orlando Magic, that's embarrassing. That team's our little brother. They've had a great year. Paolo Banchero's been fantastic. I don't understand how, for a number 1 overall pick, and by the way, Kendrick Perkins yesterday. So Kendrick Perkins on NBA Today, or maybe it was on Get Up. I don't know. It's hard to keep track. But my colleague, Kendrick Perkins, he gave his list of the top 5 number 1 picks in today's NBA. Who's performing the best this year that was a former number 1 overall pick. And he had number 1 was LeBron, then Kyrie Irving, then Anthony Davis, then Anthony Edwards, and then Victor Wembanyama. Okay, like those are fine candidates, although Anthony Edwards should be number 1. I would not have Kyrie Irving on that list at all because I would take the other 4 guys ahead of him this season and I would put Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero, is there a number 1 overall pick, a former number 1 overall pick, whose team is having success the way his is, who gets talked about less or not at all the way Paolo Banchero does? I mean, look, the Mavericks are 43-29. The Magic are 42-30. virtually same record. Mavericks have one game better than them. No one talks about Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic. But anyway, the Magic being 3 up on Miami, that's a little bit embarrassing. It really is. So you would have figured, yeah, like at that moment, all of us, all Heat fans, oh yeah, Jimmy's telling everybody it's that time. The Heat are mixing up with the Pelicans. They get that win against New Orleans. Great win. Duncan Robinson, great finish. In the locker room after the game, Jimmy's like, we're better than them and we're going to beat them again next time. It's whatever. And now you look at the Heat, it's like, We're in like an annoying place with the Heat right now. They should be rolling and getting ready for the playoffs at this point. And instead, we're just kind of here. So here's what the final 9 games look like for Miami. They're home against Portland tomorrow. Sunday, they're at Washington. You got to win those 2 games. Then they close out the final 7 games. 8 games. Final 8 games. My math is bad, I guess. Hosting New York, tough game. Hosting Philadelphia, that game's big. At Houston, Rockets have won 10 in a row. At Indiana, that's going to be big for seeding. At Atlanta, they're fighting for the play-in. Then you got Dallas at home, Toronto at home, Toronto again at home. Save for the final 2 games against the Raptors, very difficult schedule to close. Very difficult. You look at the final 9 games here, okay? Or 10 games, whatever it is. My math sucks. Portland, Washington, both under 500. Then New York's over, Philly's over, Houston, Indiana, Dallas. 5 of the final, we're talking 10 games here, are against over 500 teams. Now you got a few of them at home, but this is not an easy schedule. And as far as the standings look right now, we could catch Indiana for number 6. You would like to be number 6, but you could just as well. They're not going to fall to 9. They're 5 up on Chicago. But you could finish 8. And if you finish 8, remember, we want that 7 spot. Then you have to win at Philly in the play-in, which they could do to get that 7 spot. Or you lose, and then you find yourself facing Chicago or Atlanta again in the second play-in game, because Brooklyn's not going to catch them. They're about to be eliminated any day now. They're 6 back. So we're instead of being fired up for the playoffs right now, and we'll be fired up once we get there, but instead of being fired up for the playoffs right now, I feel like we're in an annoying place with the Heat, and we never know who's going to play on any given night. Obviously, we know the mantra, we have enough, but eventually we want to see the whole team. Like, we want to start winning games going into the playoffs. It's a little bit of a frustrating place that we're in right now.